Welcome to Money on Tap. Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters, where we bring out the professionals' experience and some fun in what we call three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. That's what we do on this show. We look at all sides of the issues, and we bring a fully independent planning perspective to the table. Welcome. You're listening to Money on Tap. My name's Seth Crossman.
And I'm Ben Brayshaw. We
are glad to have you aboard today, and it is going to be an interesting show, to say the least. I get excited about the content that we have an opportunity to share with you here because we work in it all the time. We find it valuable. It's one of the main reasons that we do this is because we want to help educate and get the information to you so you can live the best life possible, right? And have loads to look forward to in retirement. And guess what? We're going to have fun along the way too. So thanks for joining us today. Ben, you know what? You told me the name of the show. I started to write it down. Would you please do us the justice of
I'm just going to keep us in line, Seth, like I always do. It's a burden I must carry. It is what it is. But the retirement perception. Today's show is going to be a really good one. I mean, we have so many people out there that have a perspective or perception on what retirement is, what they need, and how they're going to get it done. And we're going to talk a lot about the points around that and what people are having conversations on and what that means to them both now and into the future. So,
to infinity and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy day. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people talking out there. I mean, the market's crazy. We've got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. People are probably reading the articles about Reddit and all the stuff that's happening there. And we will definitely be doing a story on that at some point here in the future, I'm sure, but in the next week or two. But I'm curious, Seth, what's going to come out in that. And I know that's kind of a money in the news move, but I'm really excited to see how the SEC looks at this Reddit piece and the organized trading philosophies of everyday people manipulating the market. It's crazy. And I don't know that it's illegal.
Yeah, we don't. We've never seen anything like it. We are in unprecedented times, and we can't wait to get into it with you. So without any further ado, we're going to go into money in the news.
Well, our first article up is GameStop is a bubble in its purest form. Now, there's if you were to ask me 6 months or a year ago with all the technology change and so forth, I would tell you that GameStop, its company and its stock are a dying business because of the download of the market. You know, the Xbox, I see my kids, they download games, they do all that stuff. I would have told you that GameStop is dead. But GameStop is up again, ticker GME, and it's actually up about 140% right now from from when this article is being taken place. But it's a company that basically short traders have been trapped in. They shorted the stock, and a collective group of people have moved forward and said, hey, listen, we're going to buy the stock and we're going to move stuff to street name and we're going to prevent shorts and we're going to force the stock up and make the short sellers cover their position, which means they have to buy their stock back. And it's very interesting as we kind of go through this article and we talk about it, but there's a number of stocks that are being manipulated this way. GameStop's one, BlackBerry, Nokia. This is a crazy inflated, intentional bubble that's being created.
Yeah, when I took a look at GameStop, years ago, it was kind of one of those things that I would drop in with Spencer, my now 16-year-old, because, he wanted to get some discount games and he wanted to pick up this or that. And I mean, it had a great retail business, but it always seemed to feel like Blockbuster to me. And I remember the transition from Blockbuster to Netflix, and Netflix didn't really have an online platform. It was just, I mean, not, it didn't have a streaming service. It was, you put in a subscription and you get the DVDs or the Blu-rays, and Blockbuster did the same thing. And I was like, oh well, good for them. They're stepping it up, but they just got left in the dust. But yeah, so GameStop had, oh gosh, what's his name? The guy, Ryan, is it Ryan Cohen? Yeah, he built up and sold the online pet food retailer Chewy, and now he's like a 13% stakeholder with his RC Ventures GameStop. He took a 13% hold in it last year and told him, hey, step up this internet thing. You guys got to get on board. And and there's been several others that have kind of jumped into this pool, but this Reddit, right? These cheerleaders on Reddit that have just been driving this thing through the roof. And it's incredible because this is not a stock that makes sense. It's so far out over its skis that it's just a mania that has driven this thing over 70 times higher since what was it, August? 70 times, 70 fold from August. And basically anyone who held the stock for 10 days made gains of more than 10 times their money.
Now, for our listeners, this is not the kind of trading that we encourage, recommend, or even do for clients.
No.
This is one of the purest, most dangerous sides of investing that I would highly encourage you never to consider doing. People are shorting companies. It's an unlimited amount of risk, and if when you do that kind of thing, and I think honestly, the people who do short stock are really seeing that maybe this is not the play to make anymore, on some level, because a collective group of people can really force us out. And I think with our world in the marketplace and how it has become something that we can do as 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago, you couldn't move as a collective. Now we have so much communication, so much ability to organize around everything that this is really an impactful kind of targeted piece. It's a phenomenal thing that has happened here, and I think it's the birth of a collective movement in the stock trading world that I think a lot of people are not giving or don't even know that this is the infantile stage of this.
Yeah, we talk about the water cooler a lot, right? You used to go to the water cooler to kind of get your trades or to talk about what you bought and what you sold.
What broker's doing.
yeah, and everybody was everybody wants to go hang out with people at work and tell them what their winners were, and the sewing circle mentality, I guess, is the other way to look at that. Just that's the way that communication worked, and people kind of had all these conversations about things, and it's so much larger and faster and coordinated than it ever could have possibly been before. I mean, even just going back into like the Facebook IPO days where everybody really knew about Facebook. There just wasn't this platform out there that people were building this community around. And I'm curious to see like what the activist, this is really I think activist trading is what I would call this, because their intention, from what we've read, seems to be to really put out of almost put out of business some of these investment firms that have been out there buying these short or selling these short positions on things and making significant losses in these trades. And to think of what could possibly happen, I guess, is where groups of people go into these ideas and like you say, manipulate is really what it is. It's coordinated efforts to really manipulate on an unprecedented level publicly. Yeah, this used to be, this is the Wolf of Wall Street stuff, the pump and dump that we've had. They've made the movies around and how bad these people are on Wall Street. And I agree, it wasn't good because it was a coordinated effort to, buy up a stock. And then somebody else was, over here saying, okay, great, go ahead and sell. And they'd split the profits and backdoor deal kind of stuff. And what is the SEC going to say?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting because when we say the word manipulate, the SEC gets really, really scared, right? That's where the problems lie. And I don't know that this is going to fall under manipulation because these guys are just, it's like me calling you, Seth, and saying, hey, listen, I really think that we should buy XYZ. And you decide to. That's a free choice. So, They are intentionally, who's to say we just don't, if we announce stocks, hey, buy this stock, buy that stock, that not everyone on the radio is going to say, hey, let's go buy it because they told me to do that, that we think it's a good, it's a recommendation. We wouldn't do that on the radio, but if we did and everyone followed us, we would be not manipulating. We would be, we'd be saying it's a good buy, right? That's really what you're saying.
Right. And I don't know if coordinated events like this, if they're going to take a look at people like ourselves that are licensed and see, hey, were you on the forum? Were you making comments on the forum? Were you one of the contributors to this? As a licensed person, this could be something very, very
Oh yeah, if you're securities licensed here on this forum, you're going to be scrutinized hardcore. That's where I think it's really going to they're going to go after those people first, figure out if it's illegal, and then they're going to go after the average Joe if they come to a conclusion. So,
yeah. Well, I wonder if there's any like Napster stuff, going on out there. Yeah. But yeah, we got to move on. Yeah, that was fun. 200 lemons, 30 bananas, and got to get back to the top of this article. Oh, yeah, let's start that over. 200 lemons, 30 bananas. Online shoppers accidentally buy too much. Novices who overbuy get creative with their cooking. So says, I salted them, I sugared them, I stewed them, I juiced them, and maybe this is you that just went bananas buying online on accident. It's so easy to do. You're not going to pick up 200 lemons at the grocery store and say, yeah, give me all that. Let's get this home. I can't wait to start stewing lemons. But apparently this is what's been happening in this pandemic is, somebody just gets another zero back there and winds up getting 200 lemons on their porch.
There's nobody listening to this radio show right now or this podcast that hasn't accidentally made some major mistake in the online ordering world.
It's too good to be true.
I think that we actually ordered some vitamins and got a couple boxes instead of a couple
cases.
So I think
Did you order $200 worth of vitamin E?
No, I know it really is. I can't tell you. Like every time you open a box, and then you're like, well, is it their mistake or mine? And honestly, at first you don't even want to tell anybody. You want to find out yourself before you share with your spouse that was me.
Oh gosh, we have had so many fun COVID stories around our house.
This one guy got so many bananas that he was making banana bread and giving it to friends and family.
Oh, what a guy! What a guy!
He thought he ordered 5 bananas and got 5 bushels. So,
man.
Oh gosh, as we move on. Now this article here is very interesting and I think very relevant to today's world. And this is from Bloomberg. It's the 5 cities ready to build with remote workers in mind. This is by Sarah Holder. This is late January 26th, and there's 5 cities that they're basically, with the tech world, there's a lot of interest in just kind of having a very simplified living. They don't want to worry about mowing the lawn. They work random hours all over the place. They work 2 hours here, 3 hours there, through the middle of the night. They work 20 hours in a row, and they want a place to go get coffee, and they just want and Seth, they compare it to retirement living.
It is. It's totally like a retirement home that's been turned over into these tech nomad facilities where, they've got these co-working, co-living spaces. It's, your laundry's done, your bed's made, you you have privacy and in your own showers and your own little home. But then you're also together with all these people that are in this community, and they're going out and they're doing stuff, and they're making, they're doing whatever's in the place to experience. But what's interesting about these remote work hubs, or this, what's the name of the company? Common. They went out and they said, hey, we want to put out this prize and award cities to host these remote work hubs. And so the cities that got awarded in this were New Orleans, which was the largest, but it doesn't really have like a real strong tech community there.
Yeah.
It's mostly tourism and industry in there. Bentonville, Arkansas, Ogden, Utah, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and Rochester, New York. The focus here from these places is we want to bring in a diversity of workers into this community. And plus, the other nice thing here is that the cost of living is the other thing that really helped to drive the focus from the people that are wanting to move into those areas.
There's not a lot of disparity in some of these communities in the type of people that are there between types of workers and so forth. So by building this out, this is expanding not only their community, but diversity, which is a focus. It's a phenomenal idea.
It sounds really cool. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com. It is a lot of fun. And we're going to have more fun when we come back with retirement perception. Again, you can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com. We'll be right back. You're listening to Money on Tap.
For a number of our listeners, they have a lot of questions, and you might be one of them. Today, we're just offering what we call Zoominars, webinars over Zoom meeting rooms, where we have top experts, Social Security, estate planning, and financial planning experts for you to speak with, do a private consultation that way today. We're also having webinar-based Zoominars where we're going to have multiple groups where you can be part of that and enjoy that as well coming up here in the new year. Give us a call at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com to schedule your Zoominar.
Now back to Money on Tap with Ben and Seth.
Welcome back. You are listening to Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com. So my name is Seth Krussman, and I'm here with Ben Brayshaw, and we're both financial planners at Brayshaw Financial Group. Today, this is going to be one of those topics that we work through with our clients on a regular basis, and it's about retirement perception. So what would that mean when we say retirement perception? It means a lot of different things, for one, because there's so many ideas that we all come to the table with, and we've seen either, grandma and grandpa or mom and dad in a retirement place, and we probably think, well, they're not working. That's one thing, we kind of identify that. That's our perception around retirement. But there's a lot of other things that just come alongside of that. Well, I don't know. Maybe we've seen dad, for instance, have a career. For instance, my dad, he was a dentist and he had a great dental practice. And, when he sold that dental practice, one of the things that he had done for himself was kind of had this other hobby that he was really interested in. And besides playing golf, that's the one everybody kind of points the finger at for a lot of dudes out there. Is like, yeah, you're just going to sail off into the sunset and play golf every day. My dad really liked painting. So he took painting classes, and so maybe your perception is, I got to get something else in my life here to, enhance my life, something, because I got to do something. There's charity work. There's all these other things that we think about. What we find is, yes, those are some quality of life things that we definitely want to discuss and we have these conversations around. But there's, at the end of the day, a financial picture that allows for these different activities, different locations that you might live, different friends that you might even have, or different places you might want to go. And the first question that usually comes up is, well, how much do I need in retirement? And some of that might be some quality of life, but a lot of that comes back into usually, the pile of money theory, the quantity of cash that you have got to accumulate. We talk about the old ING commercial of what's your number all the time, because we've got that ingrained in our minds of, people walking around the town with this number over their head that's going to equal this quality of life that they want to have in retirement.
Seth, I think how we articulate retirement to ourselves, whether you're the person that says, I just need to have, $1 million or $2 million, something like that, when I hit 65 or 70, that it will give me enough to retire. Or maybe you're just the person that says, I need $500,000 and I'm going to spend it down over 20 or 25 years. Or I need this much income when I retire. People define retirement, how much I need, a lot of different ways. There's no right or wrong way. I don't really agree with the what's your number story with the ING. We've said that before in this program because
it worked really well.
It was
because we still talk about it.
Yeah, it's the greatest marketing thing that they've done in a long, long time. And so, it's kind of hard to dispute that they've done a good job at that, but it's all about accumulating assets. And we talk to people all the time saying that there's two phases in life. There's the accumulation phase, which, probably most of our listeners are in. And then there's the distribution phase, which is, that post-retirement. And a lot of people have this light switch mentality where they say, well, when I hit retirement, I'll go see a financial planner and they'll set it up and they'll make it work. Mm-hmm. And it's just not, you can do it that way because, well, people do it all the time that way. But is that the best way? And I think that's what we're going to get into today is a little bit of the retirement perception. What do I need? How do I do this? What's the best way? And this first one, how much do I need for retirement? There's so many different pieces. I think using that $1 million number is just a good conversation piece for a lot of people. But if I have $1 million and I took 5% out in retirement, that would give me $50,000 a year. And then they forget the one thing. They forget there's usually taxes involved. That the majority of their assets are a 401k plan or an IRA or any of those pieces, and you get hit hard. And there was a study done that says fewer than half of American baby boomers have more than $100,000 in retirement funds, even though one estimate puts healthcare costs in retirement for an average couple at $280,000. Now, Merrill Lynch reported that, and they suggest that 1 out of 5 Americans don't know how much money they'll need in retirement, and that most undersaved by nearly 20%. I mean, this is a major, major problem. We have not considered the amount of people who are unprepared for retirement.
So the numbers are saying one thing here, which is there's a significant gap in retirement preparation as far as getting enough cash in those coffers to be able to create that income later on that will last the rest of your life. But what's interesting about that is this perception piece that we're talking about here is that almost 2/3 of U.S. baby boomers are confident they can retire with a comfortable lifestyle, even though just over 1/3 believe they're saving enough money. So 2/3 are saying, I think I can retire comfortably. But of those 2/3, you have to believe that of those 2/3 that there's 1/3 of them that believe they're saving enough money. And that's a totally different story. I don't understand. How can you think you're going to be comfortable? So there's 1/3 of the people that think they're going to be comfortable, But I think there's only another there's 2/3 that think they're going to be comfortable, but of those 2/3, there's only a third that really get it, that they're
Not
saving enough. Yeah, that they're not. This is not going to work.
Yeah, I mean,
that's optimistic, and we love optimism. We really do. We need that because it's it can fuel so many different things in our ability to compensate if down the road that doesn't all work out, right?
So if you have just a little bit less than half of America with under $100,000, I'm sorry, fewer than half of American baby boomers have more than $100,000. I'm sorry. So, somewhere between 40 and 50%, okay, people have over $100,000 to retire. That means more than 50% of people have less than $100,000. Okay, baby boomers specifically. Mm-hmm. Now, in your point, a third of those people understand that they don't have enough money, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say it's 45% of Americans don't have enough. Okay, 45% of Americans have less than $100,000, and then a third of them know it. So you got another 10 to 15% of people that don't know it. Okay, that's a good, I don't know, 10 to 20 million people that have no clue that they're not prepared for retirement.
It's a problem, right?
Yeah, it's a real. I mean, they're naively not aware. There are people who say, "I just do not have enough money to retire."
Yeah.
Now, what I don't know is that in this study, if they take into account inheritance, a number of things. I know there's a lot of baby boomers coming through the door right now that are getting ready to inherit money big time. And so that's another piece. So I don't know, just because they don't have it saved doesn't mean they don't have it coming through. So you're right, Seth. This is a massive concerning issue. And I think that's why we're doing the show, because there's just this unaware crowd, or even the aware crowd, that don't have enough. And every day go to work diligently, wholeheartedly, trying to make a living, doing the best they can in the middle of a pandemic, trying to figure out how it is. And I think we're going to try to help set the record straight and give people some real opportunity here to move forward.
Yeah. So, hey, by nature, Ben and I, we're problem solvers, right? That's what we do all day long and we love doing this. And so that's what we're really going to focus the majority of the rest of our time, getting into solution mode here, but with you. And by the way, you may not perceive yourself as a problem solver, but guess what? You are, because you're here today and you want to know and you want to make it better, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what it's all about. So number 2, we are going to work on getting a correct perception. Okay, so if you've been digesting some of the bits and pieces there alongside of us, what we've been trying to describe here is a disparity between the way that we perceive things and the way things are. So one of the things that is kind of an accepted rule out there, all right, is that there's if you save 15% of your yearly salary, okay, that's a good thing that you're on that track. Yet half of Americans save less than this, or nothing at all.
Seth, just to add to that, 15% is a lot of money. Okay.
It is.
Because, in the Bible, it talks about, giving to God 10% and giving to Caesar what's Caesar's, right? So, right. And it tells you to give to Caesar first and then 10% tithe. Yeah. In New England, people tithe on average less than 1 or 2% compared to the 10% of the Bible. So you've got people who don't tithe at all, and you have people who do the full 10%, and you got everyone else around the middle. So 15% is a tall order, right? So we're talking, hey, I got to pay taxes, and then you're supposed to tithe, and then you're supposed to save 15%. I mean, you're talking half your money's gone. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the conundrums that people are fighting, right?
It is. Yeah. It is a significant challenge. And, we work in 401ks a lot of the time. And that's one of the most popular savings tools for retirement today. And and it can be one of the easiest things to utilize is how do we get ourselves to start to use these different tools around us to get ourselves in a mode. And it also has a benefit there as well, because it is a reduction of your income. So there is less taxability at the end of the day. And I mean, if we were to say, hey, first steps, if you have something like this in front of you, right, start small and you can increase. It's kind of like the with the frog in the water, right? If you frog jumps into a boiling water, we know what happens, right? It jumps right out. And if you start off and today you're like, I'm saving nothing. I got nothing going in my retirement, but I'm going to walk away from this and at least I'm going to get 15% and knock it out. You might do it for a month and then you'll probably go, over. If you don't fluctuate your lifestyle somehow in that and you're not okay with that, if you don't already have that in the tank, that's going to be a tough deal. So we're just going to outline, hey, this is a place to start. And most Americans aren't doing it. So you know what? We're going to get on that side of the coin that's going to start at least putting something else into practice here. So if you are younger, this is going to be easier for you, believe it or not, because the perception is I'll do it later in life, but that is not the way you want to approach this. We're going to talk more about that, but the way compound interest works, it works over time. That's the thing you cannot change in the whole equation is time. The more time, the greater that compound interest in the accumulation is going to work for you. Okay. And this idea over here, this perception over here that I can make it up later when I make more. Okay. Well, guess what's going to happen in that? You're going to spend more if you don't make the change now. Guarantee you.
Well said. Well said. Our number 3 here is there is no pot of gold, even a pot of cash won't last. Now, this is really interesting. So, it's interesting. A lot of people say I want to die with the last penny in my bank account or zeroed it out. And so some people will actually save their money to hit a certain period of number of years to try to accomplish their retirement needs. So, hey, I need $50,000 a year, and if I put $1 million away and I leave it in a savings account, that's 20 years of income no matter what. They have this cash piece. It's a concerning thought. It's a concerning issue because people, they don't trust the market. They don't trust this. Matter of fact, in the UK, people age 55 and older can lump sum out their pension and literally choose to invest it or just keep it in cash. And now their pension age is 65 as well, but at 55 they can pull it all out. And they're finding that people are doing this, like the vast majority. I don't know the percentage, but it's a problem for their pension system because people at 55 are pulling it out and sticking it in the bank. Now, the option that they're choosing to do is just pull out the cash as they need the income and just staring that down a tunnel of years based on this is what I'm going to need, and I don't want to have to worry about the pension system and not having the income. This is bad 101. I mean, I tell people all the time that, owning cash, even in the U.S. dollar, this is the UK, and we see people doing this in the U.S., so it's not UK only. Every day someone walks through the door and says, my pension at XYZ hospital or XYZ manufacturing is offering me this large sum of money just to leave and forfeit a pension option. And we need to do an evaluation on whether that makes sense or not. And we do that all the time. And you say to yourself, well, why is that pension company offering those dollars? And they're offering those dollars because they don't want the liability of having to pay you income for the rest of your life. And so you have to understand what that trade-off is. Now, we've had shows, and if you have questions about the security of your pension, we've had shows about pensions, shows about concerns about pensions, concerns about the PBGC, which is the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corp. Go back in our archives, listen to those, because those are reasons to consider. If you don't want to take those risks on, that's a big deal, right, Seth?
Yeah, and we've actually uncovered and discovered that our perception again that these pensions are guaranteed is possibly fallible, and we understand why. And we understand why, some of the people in the UK here, given the option, would say, yeah, no, I'm going to take that lump sum and put it in my mattress. But the misunderstanding here is what the real value and how of that cash is and how to use that. And so many of them just don't even know how to save money and budget for a fixed income. So they rarely understand even how to invest wisely, and they begin too late. Okay. So we're going to talk about what is the next thing in this, right? Number 4, what you need to do. You need to get in front. I don't care if it's Zoom. I don't care if it's in person at the desk but you need to get in front of the right advisor to help you and get you educated now. This is not a tomorrow, because this is your life. Because this is the significance of your future, and understanding and changing perceptions and getting educated and getting the right information is going to probably be a conversation that isn't going to happen with maybe mom or dad or uncle or auntie or whoever the person is in your life that's speaking into your life. Allow somebody like your doctor, okay, to have that opportunity to work with you at whatever level you're at, because we have so many people that come to us or haven't come to us and think that, well, I'm not there yet. Okay, well, one of the reasons, let's talk about there yet, because this is one of the reasons that Ben and I, are here today at Money on Tap. Okay. Hey, it would be great to do some kind of a financial radio show and that turn into, some kind of a windfall for Ben and I, right? And maybe that's your perception why we're here, is to pitch you Brayshaw Financial Group. And hey, it's a part of it. We're not gonna step away and say, no, we don't want to work with more people and the right kind. We want to work with the right people here is one of the things we want to do. But inside of Ben and I, after working with so many of our clients and Ben doing so many seminars and working in these public arenas that we're trying to help people grasp and work through some of the challenges that they're facing right now, and they haven't even discovered what is yet to come. And that pours us into this heart of, we want to help people. We want to help you. We want to educate you. And that has to be something that is there with that person that you are talking with. And so in the essence, that's what this is all about for us at Money on Tap.
Yeah, Seth, I think you bring up a good point. We believe in education. I've always believed in education. I've always believed that if we empower people, they will be better clients, and they will be more profitable. And I believe that all my clients have strong, valuable opinions inside the stuff we present, because honestly, when I present something to somebody as an idea, a plan, a strategy, if something seems broken or off to them in the presentation and they're aware enough to look at the strategy and say, I don't think this works, then what I've always found is that when that happens, there's a disconnect between me understanding the concerns of the client and what they've communicated. So they may have told me that I'm concerned about XYZ, and we present a plan that supports XYZ, but in reality, they may have forgotten one small detail that they say, well, I'm not sure if that works. And usually it's a communication issue. It's not that. But if we don't empower people and we don't educate and we don't give them all the pieces to make really valuable decisions, they can't communicate back. That's the big thing. And even with this radio show, Seth, this has become an educational piece for us, because we've been able to give so many more people empowered knowledge that we have. I always tell people, don't go work with your nephew who just got in the business, or your long-lost cousin's friend, or whatever. Find a reputable firm, a company that can do this. And are we that? I believe we are. I have to say it that way, right? We were ranked in the top 250 fastest-growing firms in the country last year. But growth is not what it's all about. It's all about meeting your needs. And, one of the things with this radio show specifically is that we never planned on doing a radio show, Seth. I mean, we had actually.
No, you called me up one day and you're like, "Do you want to?" And I was like, "No, I don't really."
We were working with a gentleman another financial planner that we helped supervise and so forth, and he wanted to do a radio show. That was his big thing. We helped organize it and get everything in line and everything. And then all of a sudden, once we had everything set up and ready to go and commitments to the radio station and approval, he didn't want to do it anymore. He got cold feet. And we're doing this today. And because of that cold feet and the obligation to be on the show that day, I said, hey, you want to do a radio show? Because we have to do that.
And what's the best name that you can come up with in 3 days?
And I remember talking to my brother saying, listen, I'm doing a radio show. He was an HR exec. And we spent like 3 hours on the phone, like playing with word phrases and boom, Money on Tap came up. And it's been 4 years now? And we've had so many people
Almost 5, I think.
5, yeah. I mean, we've had so many people who have just thanked us and appreciated the information. And we know there's more people out there, and we're glad that this is here. But our point here today is that education is, what you need to do. And I'm glad you're listening to the show today because that's what you're doing.
Hey, this is a good spot for us to take a break, and we'll connect more on our story. It's a lot of fun for us to be able to kind of jump in and out of that. And you taking these pieces, or our clients taking these pieces. You want to know what long-term care is. Hey, great, we got a show. There you go, easy. You can do it on your walk today, or your hike, or your jog, or wherever you're at. And that's the podcast piece. But yeah, we're going to take a quick break. You can reach us at 855-226-8551. or info@yourmoneyontap.com. Can't wait to hear from you, and we'll be right back. Ben, how often do we have somebody come into the office and they don't have a financial plan? And how critical is it for us to put the pieces together and make sure that their future, their retirement, is a successful experience? We talk about it all the time here at Money on Tap. If that's you, give us a call at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com. Whether you have 100,000, 500,000, 5 million, look, folks, we have the right planner for you. Whether it's Ben or myself, Seth Krussman, we're here for you to get the plan together and make sure that next step is right.
Now back to Money on Tap with Ben and Seth.
Welcome back. You are listening to Money on Tap. My name's Seth Krussman, and I'm here with Benjamin Brayshaw of Brayshaw Financial Group, partners of Brayshaw Financial Group, and we love to bring you Money on Tap on a weekly basis. And today we have been diving into perception. Retirement perception, or misperception, is what a lot of it can be. And how do we correct some of those things that we've just had these ideas or misunderstandings around, and great understandings around, because we discover all of these things when we're sitting down with our clients and having conversations with you. Beautiful conversations. So we're going to jump into number 5, which is seek help often and early. And we can't even describe how awesome it is to have younger people, a lot of the time couples, but not all the time, younger people coming in and just saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And here's my life. Here's what it looks like on a piece of paper, or on a spreadsheet, or, in general. And these are my ideas. And I can't even tell you how many people I have that come through, or we have conversations with that. I love the one that corners me at the gathering, at the holiday affair, whatever, and says, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" Kind of in private, and they've got some windfall or something like that coming through. But the fact is that in dealing with all these things, how much value is your time? That's the question I think I come back to. And how can we shortcut the process or the path to get you where you need to go, or where you want to go? And that doesn't happen if you want the shortcut, I mean, I'm not a mechanic, right? Ben's done a ton of like building things, but if I want to get into electrical stuff, it's gonna take me some time to go onto YouTube to figure this all out.
It's not just that, Seth. It's just getting help and doing it and not doing it late. A lot of people, right. I think, do it late, and it's not that it's too late. It's just late. Like they're steps away from retirement, or they retired 2 weeks ago, or I'd rather someone come to us early. And how many people come to us, Seth, and say, or say to you, well, I know I don't have enough money for you to manage, or, my accounts are way too small for you, whatever. There's a reason why we don't have a minimum, is because we try to find clients that are good fits, because we know that we can help make a client the net worth we want clients to be. Mm-hmm. We know that we can help people get there faster by working with us than them doing it on their own. There's a reason why we're professionals in this world, and we can help you get to your goals quicker. I mean, if you need a certain amount of income to retire, but you're shooting for some number on the ceiling of how much you want to have in your retirement plan, well, if we could help that number be lower, that might sound silly, right? That number be lower, but it gets you the same income. That means maybe you get to retirement quicker because you weren't working so much longer to get to that higher number you thought you needed to make the income you need for retirement.
Hey, I just came up with a really great metaphor. So my dad was a dentist, right? And so I grew up with no brainer. Go to the dentist all the time. Actually, it was only once a year, but today it's like, every 6 months you go to the dentist, right? But what if you were to postpone that for like 20 years? How painful is that appointment, to know that you could have not even had to experience all that stuff in the process? It would be so much better. Take care of yourself. Take care of your finances. Treat it like that. Get into the doctor. Get under the hood. Let's take care of some stuff with you earlier rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one. That is a very good example. And I think we want you to contact us soon. We want you to reach out to us. And if we're not the person, go to somebody, like we said, that you trust, and that you're, and we've met people who we knew we could help and they knew we could help, but the connection was just not there, because right. Trust and engagement and, camaraderie, that's all part of it, because it's a relationship that you're working with somebody to help facilitate the success. And you know what I tell people all the time? The reason I say don't go to the Joe that just got into the business, or don't go to the person who's a fly-by-nighter, or your cousin or your nephew, or it's because if they haven't had, and they may be a proven person, so if they're proven, great, but you have one chance to retire successfully. You have one chance to do this right. This is not buying a backpack that wears out and you go over to LL Bean or EMS and you buy another one a few years earlier than you thought you would. This is, if they lose your money or they fail, it's over. And it's that serious.
So that's an interesting thing that you brought up, because number 6, we've got, where are you taking risk? Okay. And we talk about, and that's a risk that you're taking, right? When you're talking with, or you're reaching out to somebody, that's a risk. And so often we find people early on in this accumulation phase, which Ben talked about earlier, are not taking risk. They've got this cash in the mattress mentality, and that puts them so far behind where they need to be. And the risk is that they're not taking risk, believe it or not. Even though everything inside of them says, I can't stand the thought of even possibly being volatile or whatever. There's so many different ways that they can take, that they can put things into place to help them get the right kind of risk for them, right? But you have to, early on in accumulation, do that as much as possible. And we talk about that in some other shows as well. But on the other side of that, we have the late bloomer, or the somebody coming towards retirement that says, oh my gosh, I haven't done the accumulation I need to. So in order for me to get to where I need to go, now I have to take on all of this risk. And they go to the complete opposite side of the spectrum there. So just understanding that part of, how do you do this? How do you take this risk on? And when do you take this risk on is so critical.
Absolutely, Seth. One thing I always tell people is that, the market is intuitively risky, right? And so understanding your risk is obviously the first thing. Now, we always talk to people about the house, and we did a whole show on how to build the house and foundational elements in your portfolio and all of those pieces. And that's really something, if you don't understand that concept, listen to that show, but give us a call, because I can explain to you the concept of foundational elements and really building a structure, a financial structure that's stable, that you can live in, just like a house. And that's really what you want to work through, because the last thing you want to be doing is working with an options broker and losing a ton of money potentially.
Robinhood.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, or Robinhood, or any of these crazy things, or the GameStop we talked about, or it just, listen, there are so few people getting rich on that stuff compared to all the people that are losing a ton of money. And you just need to step back and just shoot for success. You want a successful experience. And if you're looking to make $1 zillion, you're probably eventually going to get burned. And I even teach my kids about that. We trade inside their UPMA accounts. And that's something that we talk about. And we talk about understanding investing compared to gambling and how that is different. So,
Number 7, folks, this is going to do it for us here. Everything comes back to income, right? It is, at the end of the day, it is all about, what are my liabilities? What's my income? And one of the things that we find is it's really hard to create income. You're doing it in a job or in a career, whatever that is today, but in a transition from that accumulation into a distribution, do you know how to do that and do it effectively? Because if you have this pile of money, this number over here, at the end of the day, if you don't know how to make that pile of money create another pile of money that you continue to really live through, it is an epic fail. It is. And there's so many different ways to generate and create income and do that throughout your life, the rest of your life. That's what it's all about.
Good. That's great. And I think no matter how many people might argue, well, it is about income, but I really need to have this much money in retirement, and I need to put this much money away each year in my 401k. Those are all conversations around the element that solves the problem, right? So if you're listening today and you're like, well, I'm not really sure what they mean by income, because we say that all the time. You're going to have expenses in retirement, and the only thing that's going to offset the expenses is the income coming through the door, and everyone knows that. And what people don't understand is it's all about how you translate how much income you need out of what your assets are. And so when people say, I need this much money, or I need to put this much away for retirement, it's all about how much income you're going to need in the future and how that is projecting that success. And if you focus on developing a strong story around how to build that income in all the different ways that have to do with how much are you going to pay in taxes on that? How much are you building that might be tax-free income? How much are you doing to, manipulate your real estate holdings? All of those different things that might come into play. That's planning, but it's all about coming to the income number. So if you're never solving for the income number of what you're going to need, you're never going to be able to define what any of those other questions are, like how much should I be putting away? What number do I need to get to? Where am I planning on retiring?
I love it. And that's it. You're listening to Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com. I have had a load of fun doing this show with you today, Ben. Thank you.
Thanks, Seth. Good job. See you. Bye.
Thank you. You've been listening to Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com. We've enjoyed the show today. We've been grateful for you for joining us. We thank you for calling us and giving us an opportunity to speak into your life and be trusted advisors with you. That's something we hold really sacred, and we want to appreciate you for that. So thank you so much. And we just also want to appreciate you for allowing us to be who we are and have fun with what we do on a daily basis, which is financial planning. You can also find us at Facebook. We're at /3D Investing. We're also on Twitter at BFG_LLC. And as always, you can also find us at yourmoneyontap.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for liking our podcast. We appreciate you, and we can't wait to make it a great day and a great life with you here at Money on Tap.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of this radio station and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. No strategy, product, material, or tool mentioned can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information, products, materials, or tools mentioned should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. This show may be subsidized in whole or in part by a product sponsor or issuer. Securities and advisory services offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and a registered investment advisor. All other services offered through Brayshaw Financial Group, LLC, are independent of SagePoint Financial. SagePoint Financial and Brayshaw Financial Group do not provide tax or legal advice. Main office is located at 116 South River Road, Bedford, New Hampshire, 03110, and can be reached at toll-free 855-226-8551.
Well, bye.